Most companies trying to adopt AI right now are burning cash with no measurable results. No time savings, no increased output, just wasted investment. I see this constantly with marketing teams, and it happens because a lot of them confuse AI use with effective AI adoption. Simply giving your team a ChatGPT subscription isn't a strategy. Sorry. Without a system, people experiment randomly and nothing really sticks. Your team stays just as busy, deadlines don't get easier to meet, and 3 months later, you still can't point out to any real results. If you want to actually turn AI into higher output and time savings, you have to remove the specific roadblocks that stop your marketing team from using these tools systematically. In this video, I am going to break down the 7 biggest roadblocks that kill AI adoption in marketing teams and show you the exact fix for each one. Let's start with one of the most fundamental challenges. Challenge number 1, no clear AI use cases. Most companies tell their teams to use AI, but they don't tell them what to actually use it for. Vague directives like use AI more or automate this with AI leave people guessing. They don't know which tasks AI should handle, which tool to use, or what success even looks like. So most people either avoid it completely or waste time testing prompts that don't connect to their actual work. The solution is quite simple. Connect specific tasks to specific tools so everyone knows exactly how AI fits into their workflows. Start by gathering your marketing team for a working session. Get everyone in a room or a Zoom call and ask each person to write down the tasks they perform daily or weekly. Not their job description, not what they wish they were doing, the actual tasks they repeat regularly. Then look for patterns. Which tasks are repetitive and time-consuming? For example, maybe your content team spends 4 hours every week manually tracking competitor content to find gaps and opportunities. That's a perfect AI use case. There are tools like Crayon that can automate this, cutting hours of manual work down to minutes. Once your team has identified these use cases, match each task to the appropriate tool. Be specific about which tool handles which task. Then create clear assignments for each person. For example, use Crayon to track competitor content and identify gaps we should cover, or use this AI tool to consolidate your weekly performance reports. When your team knows exactly what to do with AI, one of the major roadblocks to adoption completely disappears. They have a clear starting point, a specific tool, and a task they're already doing that just got so much easier. Now that you've identified the use cases, the next roadblock is to remove the lack of structured planning to roll things out. Challenge number 2, no structured plan to roll out AI. If you try to roll out AI to your entire team at once without testing it first, you're going to run into some problems. Nobody knows if the issue is the tool itself, their approach, or something else entirely. So you end up wasting lots of time and money before you figure out what went wrong. The solution is to start with a pilot program, which is a small-scale test where only one team or department uses AI tools in their workflows. You learn what works, fix problems, and prove value before rolling it out to everyone else. Here's how to structure this initial test. Start with a team that produces repetitive outputs. Content teams, email teams, or social media teams work well for this because some of their tasks repeat consistently, which makes time savings easy to measure. In other words, it'll be easy to tell whether the AI workflow actually made a difference. If you're in a lean team, start with 3 to 5 people. Larger organizations can test with more, but again, this is meant to be a small test. Then set measurable goals with clear targets you can track. For example, cut blog production time from 8 hours to 5 hours, or reduce email draft versions from 3 rounds to 1. Once your pilot starts, set up weekly check-ins to gather feedback. This is critical. You need to know what's working and what's breaking in real time so you can fix it immediately. Yes, the pilot will produce workflows specific to that department, but you'll also discover what transfers to other teams, like which training methods work best, where people get stuck, and what rules you need to have in place. After your pilot runs its course, you will have proven results and trained team members you can teach in the next group. At that point, expand to your second department or to the next batch of the same team. They'll learn from the first group's mistakes and move faster because you've already solved the most common problems. The third batch will move even quicker. And before you know it, you'll have an organization-wide AI adoption with measurable results instead of scattered experimentation. But here's the thing. A structured rollout only works if your team actually knows how to use these tools. This brings us to the third AI adoption challenge. Challenge number 3. Your team lacks training to use AI confidently. AI implementation is still super new to all of us. That means there isn't a whole lot out there in terms of training materials. And when training does exist, it's often generic, explaining how AI works or how large language models function. But it doesn't show people how to actually use AI in their job. The solution is role-specific training. Generic training might teach an SEO specialist about neural networks and machine learning, whereas role-specific training shows them how to use AI for keyword research and competitor analysis. Generic training could teach a content writer how AI models generate text, whereas role-specific training shows them how to use AI to research topics, create outlines, and edit drafts. Companies like MasterCard, KPMG, Accenture, and IKEA have all developed dedicated AI training programs for their teams. They learned that generic training doesn't work at scale. So before you pick a training program, map out what each role on your team actually does with AI. Once you know what each role needs, you have a few training options. Platforms like Coursera and LinkedIn Learning offer role-specific AI training programs that work well for self-paced learning. But you can also hire external trainers who focus on AI for marketing teams. These trainers cost more than online courses, but they build custom workshops around your specific tools and workflows. Section is one example of a company that runs AI adoption programs and coaching sessions for marketing teams. One more thing, training isn't a one-time event. AI tools are constantly evolving and becoming even more useful. So create a Slack channel for questions, run weekly troubleshooting sessions, and keep your training materials updated to ensure your team is always maximizing the tools at their disposal. But what if people in your team are hesitant to use AI for fear of being replaced? Challenge number 4, team members fear AI will replace their jobs. Every week, there's another article saying AI is killing marketing jobs or thousands of workers replaced by automation. So when you announce you're rolling out AI tools, people naturally worry about their job and whether it's at risk. You can't ignore this fear. You need to address it directly. The best way to do this is sitting down with each person individually and having an honest conversation about how AI actually affects their specific role. Walk them through which repetitive tasks AI will automate. Then explain what they'll work on with that time back. The language you use here really matters. Don't say something vague like, AI will make you more strategic. Be specific. Say something like, AI will automatically pull your performance reports every week. You'll spend that saved time analyzing the data, spotting opportunities, and deciding where we should allocate budget. Also, give your team members a clear timeline so they're not left guessing when everything changes. Tell them when the tools roll out, when training starts, and when you expect them to start using these new workflows. But even when you address job security fears and give people autonomy, you'll run into another problem. People will just resist changing their workflows. Challenge number 5, your team resists workflow changes. People resist AI when it forces them to change how they work. Even when AI has obvious benefits, it still represents change, and change is uncomfortable. This gets worse when you're asking people to learn completely new platforms. They have to figure out new logins, new interfaces, and build new workflows from scratch. This can be super overwhelming. So what should you do instead? Start with AI features that already exist in the tools your team uses every day. Your team is probably already using tools like Google Ads, Adobe, or ClickUp. These tools all have tons of AI features, from ad recommendations to AI-powered design tools. When you introduce AI through these existing tools, your team learns new capabilities without learning an entirely new system. That majorly reduces friction and makes adoption a lot smoother. For example, if your team uses Adobe for creative, they can try Firefly's generative fill in Photoshop to quickly edit images or create variations. By testing this feature out and sharing the results, like being able to create campaign assets faster, using it becomes much less daunting for the rest of the team. The key here is using what your team already knows instead of forcing them onto something new. One more thing that really helps with adoption: Pick 2 or 3 naturally curious people to be your AI champions. Have them test features first and post updates in your team Slack or share quick wins during stand-ups. When a colleague says, I automated my weekly competitor report and it takes 10 minutes now instead of 2 hours, that's way more convincing than hearing it from leadership. Challenge number 6, no governance or guardrails. The 6th challenge that prevents effective AI adoption is not having clear governance or guardrails around how people use these tools. When you don't set guidelines, one of 2 things will happen. Either people avoid AI completely because they're just not sure what's allowed, or they start using it in ways that create real risks for your company. We actually have data on how common this problem is. 57% of enterprise employees are putting confidential information into AI tools. People are actually copying customer data into ChatGPT without realizing they're violating data policies. You need to give your team clear guidelines on what is allowed and what is not allowed, and who needs to approve different types of AI-generated work. The way to do this is by creating a simple AI usage policy. Keep it 1 to 2 pages maximum that are straightforward and easy to follow. Your policy should cover 4 key areas. First, list which AI tools your team can use. Include both standalone tools and AI features and platforms you already use. Second, define what data can be shared with AI tools and what's completely off limits. Be specific. For example, your team can share things like product descriptions, blog topics, and competitor URLs, but they should never share customer names, email addresses, revenue data, internal campaign plans, or pricing strategies. The third thing your policy needs to cover is who reviews content before it goes live. Social posts might just need a quick look from a teammate, blog posts go through content lead, while anything that touches legal or compliance would need your legal team's review. The fourth thing is final approval. Depending on the type of content, this might be department heads or team leads who give the final sign-off. Make sure your team knows who to contact when something comes up that your policy doesn't address. Pick a department lead as the go-to person or set up weekly office hours for questions. Once your policy is ready, put it somewhere your team can easily access and refer to. You can pin it in your Slack workspace, add it to your project management tool, or put it in your shared drive. We've created a free AI policy template you can download and customize for your team. The link's in the description. Now, let's talk about the final blocker of AI adoption, the measurement problem. Challenge number 7, no way to measure AI's impact. The 7th and final challenge in getting your team to adopt AI effectively is not having a reliable way to measure whether it's actually working. When your team can't see clear proof that AI improves their results, they'll assume it's just extra work and go back to their old methods. This puts you back where you started, but now with a team that's even more reluctant to try AI again. So you need to establish the right metrics before you even begin to roll out AI. To do this, pick 2 or 3 metrics that your leadership already tracks in reports or in meetings. Before you implement AI, record where these numbers are right now. This is your baseline. For example, you might be generating 200 leads per month with a 3% conversion rate. Then, once AI is in use, check your metrics monthly. Use the same tools you use to establish your baseline. Write your current numbers next to your baseline numbers. So if you started at 200 leads per month and you're now at 280 leads per month, you have a clear evidence that AI adoption is working. Now, numbers can improve for other reasons too, but if you're tracking consistently and AI is the main change you made, you can reasonably attribute the improvement to it. But don't just look at whether the numbers went up or down. Also look for patterns. Did certain campaigns or content types perform better after you implemented AI? Are specific team members getting stronger results than others? If someone's consistently performing better, ask them to share their workflow with everyone else. This helps you understand what's working and spreads those wins across the team. Share these results with your team and leadership regularly. When you report on AI's impact, connect it to actual business outcomes. In your reporting, don't say, we saved 90 hours with AI email tools. Instead, say, AI cut our email creation time from 4 hours down to 2.5 hours. We used that extra time to run 30% more campaigns, which increased our quarterly email revenue by $5,000. When you tie AI to clear business metrics, it stops being an experiment and becomes a proven part of how your marketing team works. Remember, AI usage and effective AI adoption are two very different things. Your individual team members might be using ChatGPT or Gemini for work here and there, but if there's no company-wide system, no clear guidelines, and no way to measure if it's actually helping your business, you are unlikely to have a successful AI program. The moment you build a systemic plan to address these 7 roadblocks, things change. If you want step-by-step help implementing this in your marketing team, we've created a free AI adoption roadmap. It has the specific tasks and timeframes you need to run a successful pilot program. The link is in the description. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to the Semrush channel for more marketing insights and share this video with someone on your team working through AI adoption. Thank you so much for watching and happy ranking!